the best, the elite. Too bad you can't go and invest in petite. I'm damn, I ain't see Meek Million a week.
Guys, gotta tell you, every day I wake up in the morning, I read the news. I just gotta laugh, man. Sometimes I'm sad, but a lot of times I'm just laughing because the Democrat Party has become a complete and total clown show. Okay, they are an embarrassment to this country, and they just continue to embarrass themselves the closer that we get to midterms, actual election day, because they are desperate. They are extremely desperate, and the more desperate they get, the more they go in the wrong direction out of their desperation. They don't want to acknowledge reality, which is the biggest problem with the Democrat Party at this point. And today, I want to talk about Hillary Clinton, who claims that she's not running in 2024, even though I think that she possibly could. I'm not going to rule her out just quite yet because she stays in the media for whatever reason, even though she doesn't have an actual position. She doesn't have any real power. Why in the world is she still in the media? I don't know. But she decided to come out with this message, this warning to Democrats that Trump is preparing to steal the 2024 election. Take a look.
Hello, indivisibles. I'm here to highlight something that is keeping me up at night. And I know this group really understands what I'm about to say. I know we're all focused on the 2022 midterm elections, and they are incredibly important. But we also have to look ahead, because you know what? Our opponents certainly are. Right-wing extremists already have a plan to literally steal the next presidential election. And they're not making a secret of it. The right-wing controlled Supreme Court may be poised to rule on giving state legislatures, yes, you heard me that correctly, state legislatures the power to overturn presidential elections. Just think, if that happens, the 2024 presidential election could be decided not by the popular vote or even by the anachronistic electoral college, but by state legislatures, many of them Republican controlled. But there's also good news in the face of this very real threat to democracy. Indivisible has launched Crush the Coup to make sure we're ready to defend democracy in 2024. They've put together a list of critical races in 6 key states and how you can get involved. Will you support Crush the Coup by donating to indivisible and state legislature candidates? Each of these races is highly competitive, and your dollars could very well decide the winners and the winner of the next presidential election. This could not be more important or more urgent.
Yeah, so according to Hillary Clinton, if you support Trump, you are deplorable. If you don't support Trump, you are an indivisible. And I just find it funny, fascinating, how the people that claim to be trying to protect democracy don't seem to like democracy, right? They always seem to be making claims about how Republicans are trying to steal an election, but then they'll turn around and tell you that if Republicans claim the Democrats are trying to steal an election, that is an attack on democracy. That is an insurrection. Democrats are allowed all day long to make whatever claims they want, even though they're not based in reality, about the Republicans and stealing elections, because her claims are purely speculative. I actually know exactly what she's talking about. She's talking about what is happening with a Supreme Court case that is coming out of North Carolina, which is essentially that the GOP is arguing against being not allowed to essentially control the state's redistricting without federal oversight. You know, something that Democrats do as well, too. They love to redistrict, aka gerrymander. For as much as they want to complain about Republicans do it, they do the same thing. Democrats are arguing is that if the Supreme Court rules in favor of the North Carolina GOP, then that will essentially give state legislators more power to overturn the elections. But there are also some initiatives that are happening in states like Georgia, Arizona, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, that the Democrats are claiming is a Republican's attempt to overturn an election with state legislators. What Hillary Clinton is saying, in the claims that Democrats are making, they're either speculative at best or just outright just not true in the sense that these laws are not being passed, right? Like, for example, Georgia, okay, they passed a provision in the law that will allow the state election board to suspend local election officials. Now, Democrats have extrapolated that to mean that, well, they're going to try to use that power or that provision to overturn state elections, right? The presidential election. Again, that's purely speculative at best, right? There's no evidence to suggest that that's actually what they would use it for. You go to a state like Arizona, where a Republican legislator submitted legislation to give a majority of the legislative power to revoke the certification of an election by the Secretary of State. However, this bill was not passed, right? It wasn't passed. Now, the initiatives out in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, they're not new. They're old initiatives that have been driven by individual legislators to try to overturn the 2020 election results. And you can see that has not been successful, okay? That is not going anywhere. That's not a threat at all. And then there's also a couple other states that the White House cited, Arkansas and Kansas, that has passed laws that they say can be used to overturn the elections. However, that is not clearly spelled out in the law, right? Those powers are not clearly spelled out in the law. So they're just making it up. Like, I mean, no, really, they're just making it up. They're pointing to any little thing they can to say that, oh, the Republicans are going to use this to overturn the election results. This is a coup, says the person that essentially was responsible for a failed coup against President Trump, because she felt like that the 2016 election was stolen from her because Trump and Putin were working together, which is something that she made up, right? She came up with that allegedly and financed the distribution of this false claim that taxpayers spent millions and millions and millions of dollars investigating, right? Something that, again, was entirely made up, probably by the Clinton campaign. She's the one trying to warn people about the so-called attack on democracy, the person that could not accept the outcome of the 2016 election. It's amazing to me how they're allowed to make whatever claims they want without any retaliation or backlash, right? From the mainstream liberal media, from big tech, any of that, right? I mean, again, Hillary Clinton should be banned for this, right? She should be banned for making this claim. When Trump made this claim, it was an attack on democracy. It's an insurrection. When Hillary Clinton makes this claim, oh, she's protecting democracy, even though she doesn't have any evidence to back it up. All the claims and evidence that the White House and the Democrats are pushing to support their BS is speculative at best. But again, this doesn't stop networks like MSNBC, which has become an extremist network, from making extremist claims to convince people that the attack on democracy is serious. In fact, more serious than inflation. As this guest on Joe Reed's show actually went as far as to say that you are a Nazi, or comparing people who care about inflation more than democracy, comparing them to Nazis, the people that voted for Hitler. Take a look.
Donald Trump has said, you know where he's going to challenge the election? Already in advance, he says he's going to do it. Philly. That's a dog whistle, right? I mean, it's not even being hidden. At this point, it's just fascism in the open. And what scares me is that I'm not sure everybody minds. You know, I think there are some people who will just sit back and let it happen, thinking it won't be that bad. And that, to me, is almost more dangerous than the radicals.
Well, I mean, I'm not calling, I'm not going to say that, you know, the GOP are Nazis at this point or whatever, but it certainly sounds very familiar to what happened in Germany, which is a bunch of citizens. Adolf Hitler gets a third of the vote. Nobody thought it could happen there. They kind of went along because they said he was going to solve the economy and fix inflation.
Yeah, that's right.
You can hear those sorts of things. And then, oh, lo and behold, few years later, they lost their democracy, and they're all like, how'd that happen here? That's my worry. That is my worry. If obviously the price of a hamburger, the price of milk, the price of gas is concerning, but that is a short-term problem. The loss of a democracy will decimate everyone's freedom.
Guys, this is why I said at the beginning of this video that I just laugh sometimes when I get up in the morning and read the news, especially about the Democrats, because at this point, they just become an embarrassment. Because you got to love the political strategy that they're going with here just a couple weeks before, the midterms, right? The actual election day. They want to tell people what they should and shouldn't care about, right? You should care about abortion. You should care about the attack on democracy. Okay? You should care about voting rights. You should care about a bunch of things that really don't matter, right? You should care about a bunch of things that really don't matter, that are not really under attack. No rights are being taken away. None of that stuff is actually happening. Okay? It's made up. But the things that are happening, like inflation, crime, children being castrated, you get called names if you care about this stuff, right? If you care about inflation, you're a Nazi, right? You are caring about the same things that the people that voted for Hitler cared about. And that's how Germany lost their democracy. Absolutely amazing stuff. If this is what they want to go with, fine. If people that care about crime are racist, fine. If that's what you want to say. If people that don't want their children to be sexualized in school or be influenced to the point where they want to castrate themselves, if they're homophobic / transphobic, fine. If this is what the Democrat Party wants to go with, fine. Right? Cool. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Right? Because it's at the point now where it's ridiculous. It's clown world. It's comedy. I can't even take it serious anymore. Because these people are so delusional. They want to distance themselves so much from reality. They're so bought into their own propaganda that they don't want to take a step back and simply evaluate, you know what? Maybe the American people don't care about what we care about. Maybe we should start caring about what the American people care about and speak to those issues. Because if they actually did that, they probably wouldn't get the shellacking that they're going to get in the midterms on election day. So again, if you want to keep doing that, fine. Right? Keep doing that, fine. I'm just going to laugh. I'm just going to enjoy it because it's comedy at this point. I don't know who in the world thought that it was a good idea for Democrats, right, from a political strategy standpoint, to just attack their voters, just attack people that don't agree with them as Nazis and racists and homophobes and transphobes, just because they don't agree with the extremism of the Democrat Party. I don't know who in the world thought it was a good idea to tell voters that the issues they care about, they shouldn't care about. You actually shouldn't care about this. Here's what you should care about, right? Again, absolutely amazing stuff. If they want to keep doing it, it is what it is, right? But I'm telling you, this is a losing strategy, man. This is a losing strategy. It's going overboard, but you know what? It's a good thing that it's going overboard because I hope that this is waking people up to the extremism in this party and how, again, these are the people who, if you do not agree with them, instead of trying to listen to your concerns, they just call you names, right? They call you the worst among the worst human beings simply because you disagree with them. Absolutely amazing stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.